And we're live. Good morning, everybody. Hey, I got Krista and Kristy here this morning. Hey, ladies. Good morning. Hey, we're going to get started right away with our presentation today. We are so excited to have so many people joining us. I'm going to wait. I see you coming in now. We have the one and only Kristy Titus. I'm telling you what.
You guys are a riot. I love it.
I'm telling you, so I met Kristy Titus years ago when we hunted for Team Elk. And y'all, I am not a professional hunter like Kristy is. Oh, and it is amazing. My first impression of her was, first off, she's authentic. She's the real deal. She doesn't need anybody to help her do any of the hunting. She's got it all down. And then not only that, but she shared her knowledge. And for me to have someone that was so willing to share all your knowledge, it's just great. And then, of course, we have a great partner in Ruger, and she is Team Ruger all the way. She is, like, if you look at their catalog and a lot of their marketing material, you're going to see her picture everywhere. She is such a great representative for them and our sport. She also is a member of the NRA board, and she's a very good second advocate for us, a Second Amendment advocate for us. Kristy, thanks so much for getting here, coming today, because we are excited to talk about everything rifle. So Krista, I'm going to turn it over to you to say good morning, and we're going to get going.
Thanks. Good morning. Good morning, Kristy, again. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. We've had back-to-back celebrities, right? So we had Kim Rohde last, what day was that? Wednesday. Right? And now we've got you coming on. I'm really excited. I have to be honest, I might have been like fan crushing over some of your YouTube videos this weekend and was enjoying every bit of it. So I love shooting rifle myself. I'm also a rifle instructor, but I gained so much knowledge just from some snippets that you put out there. I'm really excited about that. How are you doing? I know you're where are you? You are on the West Coast. So
I'm in Oregon. Yeah.
2 hours behind us, right?
Yes. Yeah. A couple hours behind you ladies. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm a coastal girl. Yeah.
Well,
but
I guess
I live in the high desert though. So it looks more like Nevada where I'm from than anything. So yeah.
I'm sort of coastal. I'm actually over in the Georgia side. My coast, though, is a little different than that, right? Humid and green and buggy. Very, very buggy. So I want to talk to you a little bit about one of those videos.
Yeah.
So I was watching and really going through the MPA video.
Yeah, natural point of aim.
The natural point of aim.
Right.
So can you share a little bit about why that is so important?
Well, if you think of your rifle or your bow even as an extension of your body, it's really going to, your weapon system, whatever it is going to want to mirror what your body is naturally doing. So the way I like to kind of demonstrate natural point of aim is like putting my hand out as like a sprinkler. And if I am on target, my arm is pointing at my target, maybe my target moves left or right, and I kind of drive my arm over with my body without repositioning my muscular or skeletal structure. That's what we call driving your weapon system. So when you drive it over and you're twisting around, the minute you press the trigger on your bow, on your rifle, whatever, your body goes through an involuntary kind of pause where your muscles will relax and you can't control that. And what happens is your body will naturally want to move back into wherever that position is. So if you're driving your reticle on your firearm to the right, press a trigger, you're going to want to naturally return to this natural point of aim. And that can cause you, especially at distance or precision or off of a positional shooting scenario, that can cause you to have an impact shift or miss. And people are like, I don't know why I missed. Well, you're driving your reticle over, you press a trigger and it's going to want to naturally go back. So the first thing and one of the most important things you can do for improving your downrange accuracy is ensuring before you press that trigger that you have natural point of aim, which means, instead of twisting your body around to have your reticle on target, actually moving your body around to where your reticle is naturally on target or your pin on your bow. And that's going to really increase your downrange accuracy. And it's really, really simple to do. And a lot of times it's just the tiniest adjustment in your body position will give you what's called natural point of aim. And the best way to test that is to go through a breath cycle behind your rifle. So if you get behind the gun, you close your eyes, relax, open your eyes. If your reticle is 5 feet to the right or 6 feet to the left, you don't have natural point of aim. You want to go through that and make sure your reticle is on target. And at first, this seems maybe like a kind of a tedious process or a time-consuming process, but as you become proficient and you develop what's called unconscious competence, you'll go through that so quickly, microseconds, and you'll have natural point of aim down.
So I have to share, this was one of the hardest things in rifle shooting that I've ever experienced. I am high energy, high tension, never slow down, right? So it was like working against me constantly with all of this pent up energy, and I would fight it. It was a true fight. And then one day it was an aha moment and it happened. I relaxed enough. Is this something that came naturally to you, or did you have to work through it to find it yourself?
To discover what natural point of aim is?
Yeah, to actually find it for yourself, right?
Well, I think it's just a cognitive awareness mostly, because a lot of people think that they can just force and twist things and make it work. And it does work. If it's a closer range shot, sure, you can twist around and muscle your gun and still have impacts. It becomes more important when we start talking about precision shooting. When we want to be precise, when you want to extract the highest level of accuracy from your firearm, ammunition, and optic combination possible, everything needs to be perfect. And when we talk about precision shooting, this is where it really, really becomes extremely important. And getting the most out of your firearm, getting those tight groups, becoming more proficient, all of that is where it really starts to add up. You're not going, oh yeah, I have a 1-inch group at 100 yards, woohoo, and celebrating anymore. I mean, we all hear it. If a gun has a 1 minute of angle accuracy, it's like, Technology, I mean, my Ruger American firearms out of the box are getting, for me, half minute of angle accuracy.
Hey, Kristy.
So that stuff is like becoming really a lot more important. It's usually the shooter that's making a mistake, not the weapon system.
Kristy, can you explain what that is for our ladies that are new to shooting that are on here?
Yeah. So a minute of angle is just a unit of measurement. So at 100 yards, 1 minute of angle would be a 1-inch circle or a 1-inch space. At 1,000 yards, 1 minute of angle equates to 10 inches. So if, for example, your rifle, your weapon, and yourself, if you're capable of shooting consistently a 1-inch circle at 100 yards, the best your weapon system and you are going to shoot at 1,000 yards is a 10-inch circle, okay? Sometimes you can tighten it down a little bit, but typically 1 is 1, 1 is 10. And so when you try to start precision shooting, if I can get my weapon system and my ammo combo to shoot a 1/2-inch circle at 100 yards, then at 1,000 yards, that system's now capable of repeating a 5-inch group. So you've reduced your groups by 50%. And so a minute of angle, it varies and it changes or it opens up as you increase your distance, which is why, you can shoot close and precise. At closer distances, it's easier to be precise with your shooting. But as distance increases, and this is where, if you're antelope hunting for the first time and you want to take a 400-yard shot and you're shooting a 2-inch group, well, at 400 yards, maybe you're only capable of repeating an 8-inch group, and then you throw in something crazy like shooting sticks. Well, now you're missing and you can't figure out why. And it's just all of these things begin to extrapolate and add up within distance, under tension, stress, all of that. So,
go ahead, Karen.
I'm very familiar with the Pursue the Wild because I like to watch your hunting shows. And somehow I missed all these tips that you have. And so I spent the weekend watching, like I binge watched quite a few. Like Krista, I learned a lot. But everybody, you can find Kristy Titus at pursuethewild.com, and we're putting your links to these videos. One of the ones that I loved was how you explained all of those Ruger firearms and how they can be custom fit, most of them out of the box. Do you want to talk about what should ladies look for if they're looking for a new rifle, or if they're borrowing a rifle? What should they be looking for in terms of making that fit for them?
So one of the things I love about Ruger Firearms is they make guns for everyone. They don't have a gun. They're like, here, this is our ladies' rifle, which I feel from a manufacturing standpoint as a woman is very condescending. And I don't like that marketing approach at all. To me, it's offensive because there's small men out there. So Ruger makes guns for the family. And so a lot of their firearms platforms, for example, like I just got the new Ruger Long Range Target, and it now has a Ruger Long Range Hunting version, which is a lighter weight version. Both of those firearm systems and the Hawkeye Hunters, they have spacers in the buttstock of the rifle that can be either added or removed with the removal of a couple of screws that adjust that length of pull to fit people that are smaller or bigger. Like, for example, the Ruger American, it has a fixed stock. It's a lower price point rifle, but they sell on shopruger.com a compact stock that will accommodate a smaller statured shooter. And then you take a lot of the chassis type system firearms that you'll see with ARs, the Ruger precision rifle, which is not a chassis system, but it is similar to that because the actual buttstock of the rifle is collapsible, and there's a lot of people that cosmetically say, oh, this makes it more pew-pewy or whatever. All it does is it makes it to where smaller people can comfortably shoot, and that is really important. That's what I love about Ruger is they make guns for everyone. So it's fantastic that they do that.
And do those guns absorb the recoil a little more?
So I wouldn't say they absorb the recoil more or less. I think one of the best things you could do if you are a lady and you're a shooter and you want help with some recoil absorption is, number one, your caliber choice. And then the next thing is getting a good muzzle brake on it. Muzzle brakes are always going to help you with recoil. And the weight of your rifle is going to be the next, the biggest thing. So if you're training or practicing with a heavy rifle like a Ruger precision rifle that's going to weigh around 15 pounds, the recoil from that is going to be very, very minimal versus the same caliber in the Ruger American, which is going to weigh about 6.5 pounds. So you're going to have a lot more recoil with that rifle. So depending, your caliber choice, the weight of your rifle, all of those things affect recoil, which is really why, training with a 22 is great. The Ruger Precision Rimfire, I really like training with because, number one, 22 ammo is really inexpensive. And number two, you can practice all these fundamentals, practice your natural point of aim, create unconscious competence without firing a magnum caliber rifle, which can cause some bad habits. If you're not wearing, I wear double ears. If you're not wearing double ears, sometimes you can get sound sensitive. You can get recoil sensitive or flinchy if you're using one of these poppier light rifles. And so it allows you to practice in a really relaxed environment, a fun environment without, kind of developing potentially some secondary habits.
So I took my first elk with a Hawkeye.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Wonderful. Excited. Great.
Yeah. And what caliber were you chambered in?
I was shooting a 300 Win.
Yep. So my 300 Win Hawkeye has been, it's since season one, like my go-to, and I've divorced myself from it this year, and I'm shooting the Long Range Hunter in the 6.5 PRC this year, and I just took a bear with it. It was awesome. I set it up at home, chronographed it, zeroed it, and I shot 680 yards within 6 rounds. I went out, and my shot on my bear was 510 yards, one shot, and it's so nice to be able to have the knowledge to set up a firearm, gather data like that, and be able to have a first round hit on a big game animal. There's nothing that gives you more confidence than that. And hopefully, the ladies on this that are watching, or the gentlemen that are watching today, will go to my YouTube channel because I've got a whole bunch of tips on how to use a Ruger Kestrel if you want to get into long range or precision shooting, and how to pick a rifle fit, all of this stuff. So it's really a lot of fun.
Yep. So you probably can't see our comments, but as you've been talking about things that are highlighted in your videos, we're throwing them in the chat so everybody can go just click that link from that chat and go straight to it. So, you're welcome. They're really great tools. So we're all about practice. So, we don't take it lightly that we're trying to encourage women to participate in shooting sports. And that comes with that responsibility to practice, whether it's for recreation, self-defense, or hunting. it's everybody's responsibility to be proficient and safe with their firearm. And so we love you. Kristy, you got another question, I know.
I do. My brain's sitting here going, and I'm watching Kristy, and I'm looking at her, and I'm thinking, were you just born with all of this knowledge? How did you get here? This is amazing.
This is funny. No. So here's the thing. This is what happened for me, and I think it happens to a lot of women. I've hunted and shot firearms my whole life, and I started hunting, and I went on a couple of hunts, and I had some bad experiences with poorly fitting rifles, with shot limitations. Like I wasn't comfortable making a 400-yard shot on an elk one time. The man I was hunting with was like, just hold your reticle on its back and shoot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like guessing where my bullet's going to drop into on this animal. And it was just really stressful for me. And I decided that I needed to learn more about guns because I wanted to become more proficient. I wanted to understand what was happening. I wanted to understand ballistics. And I wanted to be as ethical as I could as a hunter. It is so important for me that if I'm going to be out there as a hunter, that I harvest an animal, giving them the most reverence and respect possible. In order for me to do that, I need to be better. And so I started training, and I've taken a lot of firearms training, rifle training, and now I teach quite a bit. And I'm honored to shoot for Team Ruger, which is all about helping women get empowered, inspired, and more tools to learn. And so 10 years later, pretty much here I am, and now I compete in long range precision shooting. And it doesn't, you don't learn this stuff overnight. And conceptually, I'm really bad with math, and so it was really hard for me at first. I'm like, a minute of what? Huh? Like, mind blown. I didn't get anything. And so it's been a process for sure. And it's all about learning and not stopping learning and continuing to always just try to be the best you can. And that's with, being around great women and great other, instructors and people you really trust. So.
Right. Well, you do a phenomenal job of representing women around the world. Like I go back, y'all, when I first met her, Kristy, you're just the real deal. And there's not that other women in the industry aren't the real deal, but of all of the women in the industry in terms of hunting, I've met a few that are truly authentic. I always say Brenda Valentine because she's like I geek out still with her. And you are so very good at being an ambassador, not only for women, but really the sport. I said that to Kim Rody the other day too, but you seriously are such a great proponent for all of us. I mean, you're a beautiful woman that people would look at you and think that girl doesn't shoot, she doesn't hunt, she doesn't fish. And you do all of that, and you do it extremely, not only talented and successful, but you really do bring a lot of class to the sport. So I really appreciate that. So we're starting to get close on our time. Yeah. I just asked to see if there's any questions from our listeners. We've got quite a few people watching this video this morning. The other thing, Kristy, is so how are you doing with, shelter in place or whatever you guys have got going on in Oregon? Are you keeping busy?
Well, I was supposed to be in Sweden scouting for roe deer in April, and that trip obviously was canceled. So I've been very disappointed with that. However, my lifestyle is so rural and so unique anyway that this stuff really hasn't affected me. I live on a ranch. I have a farm lifestyle. So yeah, whatever. It hasn't really, I feel really bad for a lot of kids in inner cities that are kind of in prison right now in their own little homes. So my heart breaks for them. But I've been out sage rat hunting with my cousins. We took a bunch of Ruger rifles out and did some sage rat hunting. I did a successful spring black bear already. And so, yeah, it's been a really fun spring. I haven't slowed down at all, other than my international traveling has been kiboshed. But hopefully people start to peacefully resist and cautiously practice safe skills as far as social distancing and some things like that. They can reopen America and get us all back to work and back to life instead of imprisoned in our homes.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We do have a question for you, Kristy. Amanda is asking, she said she's been shooting for about 30 years and that she's developed some bad habits. How would you now go back and correct those habits that have basically built on and acquired over the years? Do you have a method for that?
Well, I think first of all is identifying what the habit is, because that can mean a million things. So one of the biggest habits I see for new shooters or inexperienced shooters is, they'll press the trigger and they want to flick their finger off the trigger really fast and look up. So you're like, they shoot and they like do this thing where they like jump off the gun as fast as possible and they look over the top of the scope and it's like, wait a minute, we have to slow this down, stop, press the trigger, straight and back to the rear, hold it in place, watch your bullet trajectory through the scope. When it hits or misses the target, then you can celebrate. But it's identifying those fundamentals of marksmanship. So your trigger control, your follow through, natural point of aim, your body position, sight alignment, sight picture, all of those things. And all of those bad habits can be broken with dry fire practice. You don't have to be at the range. You don't have to actually fire your firearm to retrain your brain the correct fundamentals of marksmanship and relearn or repractice how to use those fundamentals. But the trouble is a lot of times you don't know what you're doing wrong unless you have a coach watch you. So I always encourage people, if you can get in front of a qualified instructor, have them help you. And sometimes you can even do that like with a video, because right now, obviously, we can't do a lot of traveling. So perhaps there's an opportunity for you to do some FaceTime training, some things like that.
What a great idea.
I have friends that have like online training classes. Go on some of my my videos, and I launch more videos for Ruger every year on these basics. And so this year, one of the videos I'm going to be creating is about fundamentals of marksmanship. I'm going to talk about circle of components. We'll be creating a video on that, and you can only be as accurate as your weapon and your scope and your ammo, and then and how those things have to work harmoniously to be accurate. So I think a lot of it is just identifying what your particular bad habit is and then working from there.
We actually have our live on Friday morning is about dry fire practice. Is that something you're doing fairly regularly? And do you have a schedule, or how do you work that?
Yeah, dry fire practice. The nice thing about dry fire practice, if you're trying to build, drawing from a holster, or if you're trying to build skills on positional shooting, it's very effective because you can set a timer up and do dry fire practice and never fire a shot, and you can do that from your quarantined living room. And so these are things that are really, really helpful. Then when you get to the range, you're not wasting time and ammunition building these what I would call building unconscious competence. You have that developed already. You get to the range, you can extract whatever level of increase in skill you've got with live fire practice, and then go home and extrapolate on that.
Awesome. Well, we've got one more question, and I think we're going to have to wrap it up. We've definitely over our time. But Nephi Cole is asking, you represent firearms companies, specifically Team Ruger, and they have had 300% increase in sales over the last month as a whole, right? It's what we're hearing from the media. Most of those are the first-time gun buyers. Do you have any advice for these new firearm owners?
Well, first of all, I want to thank them for stepping up and becoming firearms owners and using their liberty and becoming their own first line of defense and also acquiring a firearm to protect their family, because we all know right now protecting our home health has never been more important. Training is key, and comfort and confidence. And so with a handgun or a rifle, first time buyers, what's great for me may not be great for Karen or may not be great for Krista. The things that I love, how I like to carry the firearm I choose to carry, the firearm I like to shoot, just because I like it doesn't mean somebody else is going to love it. And so if there's a possibility, I always tell first-time gun owners, go out with experienced gun owners and shoot your friends' guns. Find out which one they have that you like. Shoot Like a Girl provides a really fantastic experience where women can go in the trailer, they can shoot firearms, have 80% of what the true recoil would be, have that experience without actually firing a shot down range. And so a lot of, for women, especially when it comes to like racking a semi-automatic slide on a pistol, that takes muscles, it takes a little technique, and it can be intimidating when you know a live round is there, when you're trying to practice gaining muzzle control and things like that. So doing it in like a shoot like a girl setting where you have a safe, controlled environment to learn, or a dry fire environment to learn before you ever go live, that's really important. That's going to give you confidence. And then when you actually go to the range and you fire the projectile and you're shooting, you realize it's not as scary as you thought it was going to be, and it's really fun, and you have a really good experience. So find online training, find places you can go, find people with firearms, find those people with knowledge that can help you as a first-time gun owner. And then NRA training. NRA Online has tons of great training. We've got training counselors all across the country. There's lots of different women's groups across the country that offer training and memberships and organizations and clubs. And people should look into those resources because there's a lot of them that will help them become proficient with their firearm, take away the edge of it being intimidating and scary, and then it becomes something that you're confident with.
Yep. And Kristy, I know you are one of the most huge proponents for firearm safety that I've ever met. And so a lot of times for these new shooters, just simply understanding those firearm safety rules of always treating that gun like it's loaded, keeping your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot, you know, keeping it safely stored in your home, especially if you have kids. We did a, right when this COVID started, we did a live on firearm safety. And if you guys go to our videos, you can see those and you can learn about that. And then I'm sure Kristy has stuff because Kristy is, I've hunted with her, and I will tell you, she is a safety, make sure you're safe and make sure you have fun. And Kristy, I just can't thank you enough.
That is making sure what the rules are for where you're at.
Yes.
You cross the state line, and the rules in Oregon are very different than the rules in California. And so it's really important that you understand. And as a firearms owner, it's our responsibility. You know, can you travel with your magazine loaded? Can the magazine be in the firearm but nothing in the chamber? Does the magazine have to be stored completely separate? And so there's all these rules. It's our responsibility to know, learn, understand, and follow them.
That's right. And so, you know, for example, and I know Chris is looking at me for time, but so when I go visit my mother in Illinois, it's the stupidest thing in the world. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. I have to pull off at some random gas station or hotel right at the border's edge from Kentucky to Illinois. I have to disarm myself. I have to lock my firearm in a case, put it in my trunk or in the back of my car where I don't have accessibility to it. And then I go unarmed into Illinois the rest of my trip until I move that firearm into my mother's home while I'm visiting, but I can't carry it in Illinois. And it's so frustrating to me because I didn't change. I'm still the same safe, responsible gun owner I was before I went into Illinois. And so it's always frustrating. And that's why.
Well, that's where we as voters need to contact our state legislators and let them know 50 state reciprocity, period. It should serve as a driver's license. We have a Second Amendment that says thou shalt not be infringed, period. Not if I'm in Illinois versus California versus Oregon or Nevada. We have to really start pushing because we need the ability. They're making us victimizable by disarming us, and it's not acceptable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Kristy, I can't thank you enough for joining us. Oh my gosh. You have been just delightful, and I hope we can have you back again. Hopefully we're going to all be on the road and be too busy to do this soon. But thank you so much for spending time with us. I'm going to turn it over to Krista. We'll get some final thoughts from you, and we'll wrap up our administrative because we got to pick a winner for last week's prize. Oh, and this week I'm going to assume that Ruger's going to help us out with a little prize pack. So if not, I'll shoot like a girl. We'll get that. But we're going to do a Ruger prize pack. So for all of you that like, share, and comment on our video, we'll do a Ruger prize pack of a t-shirt and a hat, and we'll get that to you, of course, later after everybody's back in the factories and stuff.
Great. Yes. So yes, Kristy, thank you. It's been a wonderful way to start this week. It's early for everyone, and this should be giving everyone inspiration to have a wonderful week having you on first thing. So let's talk a little bit about Wednesday. Wednesday's winner. That was the Beretta shotgun vest. So congratulations to Betty Lester. You have won the shotgun vest, just as Karen said, and with all of our prize winnings from each of our lives, most of our business partners are not fully staffed currently and working in the office. So your prize winnings will arrive. It just might take a little longer than normal. We have to wait for everyone to get back in the office. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this live with Kristy Titus to be eligible to win this prize pack. And then join us tomorrow night for Ladies Night In at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Cassie Ubaldo, is that right, with Upper Canyon Outfitters. She's going to talk about relaxing. And so she does a great series that Karen's been through before, live and in person, with equine and relaxing. So horses and relaxing. We're going to talk about relaxing as a whole. And I think there's a secret that says we might actually be doing some of this relaxing while we're all together. So make sure you join us tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'd love to see you. Thanks, everybody. It's 30 minutes. I know we're over our time, but it was well worth it.
Bye, y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You have a great day.